Welcome to another episode of the Harvey Hour Fired Up. My name is Nathan Harvey. I'm glad you could join me today on this Wednesday afternoon. We got a pretty big show, a lot of topics. We got breaking news that came out last night. I am very, very excited for today's episode of the Harvey Hour Fired Up. Let's get right into it. You saw the topic when I started up this live stream. My name's Nathan Harvey. Let's get into it. So late last night, Draymond Green, it was announced that Draymond Green would be suspended for Game 3 of the first round of the NBA playoffs between the Warriors and the Sacramento Kings. And this is the statement that the NBA released last night. Golden State Warriors forward Draymond Green has been suspended 1 game without pay for stepping on the chest of Sacramento Kings center Domantas Sabonis. It was announced today by Joe Durmas, Executive Vice President, Head of Basketball Operations. The suspension was based in part on Green's history of unsportsmanlike acts. Green's actions were in response to Sabonis grabbing and holding Green's right ankle after falling to the floor. Green received a flagrant foul too and was ejected, and Sabonis was assessed a technical foul. And it says the incident occurred 7:03 remaining in the fourth quarter of the 114-106 loss in Game 2. He'll serve his suspension on April 20th, which is when Game 3 is. I was a little surprised that Draymond Green would be suspended 1 game and then Domantas Sabonis got nothing. But am I any way surprised that Draymond Green got suspended at all? Frankly, no, I'm not. When you Super Mario Bros. Goomba Stomp another NBA player, you basically trapeze launch off of another player. Yeah, that's a problem. Now, personally, if I were the NBA, I would have fined Domantas Sabonis for grabbing Draymond Green's ankle. But it wasn't excessive. We're not talking about a grab, hold for dear life. We're talking about a guy who grabbed Draymond Green's ankle for about a second. And so I think it's a little bit, I understand, consequences. You grab his ankle, you're going to get stepped on. I can understand that. So Draymond Green's suspension is in no way surprising to me whatsoever. Because Draymond Green's history, the NBA, they came out with a statement that said the suspension was based in part on Green's history of unsportsmanlike acts. That's happened. He's kicked guys in groins. He got suspended in Game 5 of the 2016 finals. That's when they were up 3-1 and ended up losing 4-3 to the Cavs. And he got suspended in that Game 5, and they ended up losing that series, of course. So I'm not surprised at all that Draymond got suspended. I'm more surprised that Domantas Sabonis didn't at least get a fine. I don't think Domantas should have gotten ejected in that game or suspended. And no way are each of the actions on the same playing field. You could trip a guy. It's not on the same playing field as stomping a guy's ribs, basically. And now it came out that Sabonis had a contusion on his side, which, I mean, there's no surprise. You have a guy that weighs, 240, going full body weight and basically jumping off of your ribs to regather his balance. So I'm not surprised at all. Draymond Green has had a history of this. We all know it. He's not exactly the nicest player. I think the big question mark is now, because I think the Warriors, I think it's going to be very, very difficult for the Warriors to beat the Kings in Game 3, even though they're at home. The Kings actually in the West are the best road team, record-wise. So what are the Warriors going to do moving forward? Now, let's say, my crazy prediction that I got a bunch of backlash for, saying Kings in 5, well, based on the circumstances, you can complain and whine about the circumstances. Oh, this, oh, that, oh, the refs, oh, Draymond suspension, oh, the Warriors weren't playing up to the standards, oh, De'Aaron Fox is too clutch, oh, Malik Monk won't have another game like that. As many excuses as you want to say. My Kings in 5 pick is now looking very likely. Before the suspension even happened, as soon as Game 2 ended, I felt a lot better about my pick than I did when I originally made it. It was sort of a shot in the dark and hope it sticks, but there was some basis behind it. The Kings are a significantly better offensive team than the Warriors. The Kings and Warriors each don't play defense, but the Kings at least could overcome it. There's a reason why the Kings are the 3 seed in the West. They could overcome being, the 29th ranked defense in the league? So the Warriors, they could not keep up with the Kings whatsoever. And regular season, blah, blah, blah. Whatever you want to say, clearly it doesn't matter. If you say the Warriors don't care about the regular season, well, maybe they should. Because look at them now. Curry, for the first time in his career, and since 2007, the Warriors are now down 2-0. in a series. So now, what are you going to do moving forward with Draymond Green? He got suspended, probably cost your team that 2016 finals because he kicked Steven Adams in the groin. And then he had a kicking problem the entire playoffs. You had him punch a teammate in practice earlier this year. You fined him for it. You didn't suspend him within the team. Draymond Green has gotten hurt recently. He was out a decent part of the season last year. They did win the chip, though. So where do you draw the line? Where is Draymond Green's value when it comes to the Warriors? Are they willing to pay him his max contract I believe he's hoping for? Because guess what? Klay Thompson also wants that. Draymond Green to the Warriors specifically, I understand, is very valuable. He is the guy when the Warriors need energy, when they need a burst, when they need a fast break, he's the guy that initiates it. He's the one that takes the ball up the court and pushes it to start up an offensive possession. He's also a guy in the Warriors that could guard positions 1 to 5, even though he's 6'6". He's one of those unique players that because of his physicality, because of his sort of raw emotion when he plays and the passion and the fire that he plays with, he can guard guys from point guard all the way to center. But outside of the Warriors, where's his value? For the most part, he's a triple single, which means he's generally, at least offensively, a liability. He's a liability on offense. We saw it especially, I believe, 2 years ago in the play-in game. He had a wide open layup against the Grizzlies. He missed it. Completely missed it, and he was bad offensively. He's been bad offensively for the past, 5 years? Draymond Green just in total wasn't tremendous offensively. He's had seasons where he's averaged, 15 points a game. But now, where's his value? Where is his value? Because if he's asking for a max deal when there's a lot of holes to his game, what are other teams going to look at? Are they going to look at how the Warriors used him and try to use him that way, which could conflict with the way things are already run? What team would want to pay him the amount of money he's asking for? I think the Warriors, just with everything going on, how much do you value Draymond Green's potential? Or I guess, how do you, not really potential anymore, but how do you value what he's done for you thus far? Because, you know what? With Draymond Green's sort of guarding 1 to 5 and his passion and his leadership, you also have the baggage. He's cost you some games, some crucial games, some playoff games. And you better hope you have offensive firepower, because if it's just Curry, we've seen it before. If it's just Curry, he could put up points, but the team won't be the same. You won't get wins if Draymond Green is supposedly going to be your number 2 or 3 since Klay was out a couple years ago. The Warriors were bad. Draymond Green defensively, he's pretty good. He's one of the better defenders in the league. How are you going to use him? This Warriors team is looking a lot like the Patriots dynasty. When that ended, look at it. Brady was upset. Steph Curry and Steve Kerr, I believe, are a little bit frustrated with how things are going. The team tried to get new guys and make them work. Same with the Patriots. Tried to bring in new receivers. It didn't work. New tight ends. Didn't work. And it went out pretty ugly. Brady left the team, and the team the following year missed the playoffs with Cam Newton. All great dynasties don't really come to an end gracefully. I would say most of them come to a screeching halt and a drop-off. I don't think the Warriors should do it. Now, value-wise, I would say Draymond Green's up there, of course, because with the Warriors, they'll always expect him to be that leader on the team. But after this season, he may cost them the first round of the playoffs, which Steve Kerr's undefeated in, and the punch, which probably cost them some team chemistry with the younger guys versus the vets, which is probably in large part the reason why they haven't had a great road record and haven't really clicked all year. I don't think the Warriors are going to pay him. You're paying Jordan Poole a lot of money, and he's been horrible in this playoff series. Now, Jordan Poole will probably start in Game 3, which is tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts. I expect him to start. Could I see him drop 25? I probably can. Will that be enough, though, to move past the Kings? I don't know. I believe the Warriors have a 33% win percentage with Draymond Green out. And generally, the Warriors don't really win with Draymond Green out. So, could the King... I'm not saying Kings sweep, because I think with Draymond back in Game 4, I think the Warriors would win that, And then I think, game 5 at Sacramento, I think that's where the Kings win in 5, and I get my prediction right. That's what I'm hoping for. Otherwise, if the Warriors take tonight's game, I think my prediction's out the water, because I just think with Draymond Green back in game 4, I think they could win that game and move it back to Sacramento, and it could be a 7-game series. But I do think the Kings will win probably in 7 if the Warriors take both at home. So I think the next step forward for the Warriors is give up on Draymond. Give him up. Because truthfully, you could find one guy that's good defensively and another guy that could that sort of pick up where Draymond Green's offense sort of was stagnant about 6-7 years ago. Do that. Why not? Try to find 2 guys that fit Draymond's thing without all the baggage. Draymond defensively, find a good defender. Now, he doesn't need to defend positions 1 through 4 or 1 through 5, but you need a big man. The Warriors are an extremely small team. I said that months ago. I said at the very beginning of the season, when I believe they started 0-7 on the road. I said, this team can't rebound. They're small. They get dominated in the paint. And that's been a common theme throughout the year. Get a big guy that flows with this offense. So we see Jordan Poole for Anthony Davis, maybe? Just throwing that out there as a little thing. But hey, maybe. We will see. But I do want to move on to our next topic here. Because lo and behold, what did I say about 2-3 weeks ago? I believe it was the first Harvey Hour Fired Up. I said, the 49ers have their quarterback. They're going forward with Brock Purdy. And lo and behold, today there's a report that came out that said that the 49ers have begun fielding calls for Trey Lance. Now, they haven't been making the calls. They've been receiving the calls to see, if teams will be willing to trade for Trey Lance. Now, I looked it up to see what Trey Lance's value could be based on, some analysts and some reporters. And Mike Silver, I believe, said that he's back in January. He could be worth up to a 3rd-round pick. Go for it. Jump on it. Get as much as you can for Trey Lance. Now, technically, on the books, Trey Lance has a 2-2 record. But that 4th start was when he got hurt against the Seahawks. Jimmy G came in and won that game officially. He went 2 of 3 for 30 yards in that game, Trey Lance. But in 3 starts where he's finished the game, he has 55% completion percentage, 605 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks, and a 72.1 passer rating. That's not good. That is not starter material whatsoever. That's like Zach Wilson type numbers, and Zach Wilson got benched twice this year. And now they openly shop for a veteran quarterback this year, and sort of, I don't know why, but they're going to keep Zach Wilson on the back burner to hope and pray he can get out of whatever slump he's been in so far. And I thought, why not take a look at Brock Purdy's first 3 games or 4 starts? We'll go first 3 starts just in case, since we're comparing 3 starts to 3 starts. 3 games where he started and finished. 69.5% completion percentage, 636 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, 121.4 pass rating for Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's such a better quarterback than Trey Lance. Even when Brock Purdy didn't start in that game against Miami where Jimmy G broke his foot, at the end of the game, people were saying, who's this Brock Purdy kid? Mr. Irrelevant? Who is this guy? He looks really good. The first start he ever made, 16 of 21, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 134 passer rating. This guy could play. This guy's the last pick in the draft, and he could play. It makes no sense to hold on the Trey Lance. You got Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's an okay backup, you could say. But to hold on to a guy that you spent, 3 first-round picks for, just to start a guy who was the last pick in the draft, you got to get some value for him. You made a mistake. The worst thing you could do is double down on your mistake and keep him. Get rid of him. Because you literally have no use for him. You're rolling with Brock Purdy. Now it's a question of how healthy can Brock Purdy stay. I think that's the big thing that the 49ers may be asking themselves. Do we hold on to Trey Lance strictly because Brock Purdy could get hurt again? And I think that's a fine question. But you use that 3rd-round pick for another quarterback, to draft a quarterback. a backup quarterback role or sign a backup quarterback that may be on the market. But to hold on to a guy that you're not going to use, they spent so much for, you at least got to get some return on, because his value right now is a third-round pick. If he stays on the bench, it's just going to keep dropping off and dropping off and dropping off. He's still technically on a rookie deal. Teams will pay a decent draft pick, like a third-round pick, for a quarterback who has a lot of potential because he is so raw. He was the most unrefined quarterback in that draft class, so he has potential. He's very, very athletic. He's 6'4", 220, and can run. He has potential, but the 49ers are not going to use him because their offense doesn't require a guy to be 6'4" and super athletic. All they require is a guy who could play, who could throw it accurately. That's why they kept Jimmy G. That's why they stuck with Jimmy G. That's why they re-signed Jimmy G in a one-year deal last year, even though he has a severe injury history. It's because he was accurate. When you complete 68% of your throws, yeah, you're going to get looks, even though you can't throw a great deep ball, or you're not athletic, or you're strictly a pocket passer. If you could get the ball accurately to your receivers, which people are going to argue with me about this. Jimmy G did that. Postseason, it is what it is. You could argue that all you want, but I'm still saying you beat Aaron Rodgers a couple times in Lambeau. That has to mean something. He made it to a Super Bowl. When you facilitate an offense like that, the quarterback holds the ball on every single play on the offense. He could basically cost you every single game, and Jimmy G didn't for the most part. That's why they kept him. He was accurate. That's why they will keep Brock Purdy and start him, because he is accurate. Trey Lance, 55% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks, 72 passer rating. Doesn't look good with that team. Take CMC away. They were still a top 5 team, Super Bowl odds. Without CMC, top 5. And with Jimmy G at quarterback. Now you add CMC, Brock Purdy with the season he had last year. They could probably move into top 3. They probably are top 3. You got to move off him. Get whatever value he has left. Get it and run with it. I don't want to talk about this for our last topic of today. We're flying through each of these topics here, but I got stuff to do. So I'm going to end with this one. I got ribs on the smoker. I want to talk about this. So the New York Knicks lost last night in a pretty convincing fashion. 107-90 loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 2 after taking Game 1. And I saw some aspects of this game that I didn't see in Game 1. First off, the Cavs actually played really good defense, but they have been playing all year, and they even played good defense in the last game. However, what I saw this time was Karis LeVert became Karis LeVert. Darius Garland was Darius Garland. And Donovan Mitchell actually took a step back to Darius Garland, but was still very, very effective. I think the big X factor for the Knicks here is not Jalen Brunson, because Jalen Brunson will get 20 points at least, and we'll move with that. Julius Randle will get 20 points, and you can live with that. The big X factor here, and the huge comparison between regular season when they went 3-1 versus the Cavs, Jalen Brunson went off in basically a lot of those games, the last one specifically with Julius Randle out, is honestly R.J. Barrett. R.J. Barrett has been a liability to the Knicks both these games. Now, they won this past game, but at the very end, they were choking, and then Jalen Brunson went off against Osman, and then Josh Hart made that insane step to the side 3. Josh Hart, sorry. And that put him up. Josh Hart was bad in this game. Bad. It was a minus 29 when he was on the floor. Wasn't effective. 5 points, 1 of 1 from 3, 2 of 3 from the field in almost 30 minutes. RJ Barrett needs to be the X factor. He is a key cog. He's on your starting lineup, and he is a liability. RJ Barrett in this series, he's averaging 10.5 points a game, 24% from the field, 12.5% from 3. In the regular season series versus these Cavs, when they went 3-1, he was averaging 42% from the floor, 43.5% from 3, and 15 points a game. Who would you replace him with if you don't want to start him? Which I think he should be taken off the starting lineup because he's not a great defender. And his offense is absolutely trash in the series. He played okay in his first playoff series a couple years ago, and this season he's nowhere near the same type of player he was. There are two players. If you want to go with the bigger guy, I would go Obi Toppin. If you want to go smaller and go with the guard, I would choose Emmanuel Quickley. I want to start with Emmanuel Quickley. In 21 games this season as a starter, he averaged 22.6 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 5 assists. Very, very efficient. Very, very effective. And there's a 40-point game in there as well. There was a 38-point game in there as well. 36 points. He's been insane as a starter. 39 points. Emmanuel Quickley in this series hasn't been great, but he also hasn't been given much of a chance. He didn't play many minutes in the first game, and in this game he played 23 minutes, put up 12 points. 1 of 4 from the 3, 4 of 8 from the floor. Put him in it if you want a smaller guard. Now, I think Quentin Grimes, honestly, you could also consider benching him. He hasn't had a great series. Now, RJ Barrett, I believe they spent a very, very high pick on him. So you may not want to bench him. Quentin Grimes, he's an okay defender. He's the better defender out of the two guys I mentioned, RJ Barrett and Obi Toppin. But Obi Toppin is a starter. If you want to go bigger guy, if you were to bench RJ Barrett, in this season, 5 games at the end of the season, played very, very good. One of them was actually against the Cavaliers as well. 21.8 points, 3.4 assists, 3.2 rebounds in 5 games. There are 2 30-point games in there as well. Shooting shooting extremely well. The Cavs series, he played 19 minutes as a starter. He put up 12 points. He shot 71% from the floor. Made 2 of 2 from 3. Obi Toppin, he's not a great defender. Well, RJ isn't giving you any more. RJ is not doing anything for you. Emmanuel Quickley on offense is better than both of them. Obi Toppin is better offensively than RJ right now. And has been, at least recently. This season, RJ Barrett has been pretty bad. There were a lot of talks about whether or not the Knicks should trade away RJ Barrett at the trade deadline. Well, now it looks like might not be a bad idea. Because RJ Barrett has been terrible. Karis LeVert, I'll give him a lot of credit because I believe he's being a free. I believe it's coming out to be he's a free agent in this offseason, this upcoming offseason. He'd be a great number 2 to Luka. Because guess what? The number 2 to Luka was Kyrie Irving this year. Doesn't play great defense. Jalen Brunson doesn't play great defense. That was the problem with the Mavs. They had 2 guys that were mainly offensive. Now Jalen Brunson, I think, is a better defender than Kyrie, but they didn't play great defense overall. So you want to get Luka number 2? Get him Karis LeVert. He's a really good defender. He's also pretty good on offense as well. 24 points, 9 of 16 from the floor, 4 of 9 from 3. Hey. I'm going to give a lot of credit to Darius Garland. Second quarter, he was incredible. He was incredible in the second quarter. And that's really where the game sort of broke open for the Cavs, and they sort of just rode that second quarter wave all the way to the end. Knicks only scored 17 points in that second quarter. It was abysmal. They couldn't make a 3. Jalen Brunson, 1 of 8 from 3. Julius Randle was a little bit better, 3 of 7. Quentin Grimes, 0-2. RJ Barrett, 0-3. Emmanuel Quickley and Obi Toppin each were 1 of 4. Obi Toppin needs more minutes. I'm going to say this until it actually happens. When he's a starter, he's been good. Really good. I don't know why he doesn't get any more minutes. 15 minutes. Second lowest on the team. Only above Miles McBride, who played 2.5 minutes. It makes no sense. Do they not know how to play Obi? Do they not know which lineup he fits in? I don't understand it. RJ Barrett has been a liability. This is what I was talking about with Trey Lance. You don't want to double down on your mistake. If you made a mistake, at least admit it. RJ Barrett right now has been bad. Very, very bad in the series. Now, the Knicks go back to MSG for Game 3. I think Tom Thibodeau is going to get them riled up. I do think they come out better in Game 3. I think they could pull out Game 3. But people were hating on me for that last video. It was Game 1. It was Game 1, and now you're getting riled up over Game 2? It's a 7-game series. I said Knicks in 6. I expect them to lose games. They took 1 on the road. That 1 on the road was incredibly important. Because it doesn't mean you now need to win both at home. You can now lose 1 at home. Now, you shouldn't. If you want to take control of the series, you do want to go up. If you win both at home, you go up 3-1. Now, you could lose the one at the Cavs and then win the last one in Game 6. So people are getting crazy over the Cavs' dominant win. Yeah, congrats. Now this year, the Cavs are now losing the series 3-2. And in the playoffs, it's 1-1. Get crazy about the win. It was one game. One singular game. I said Knicks in 6. Obi Toppin, you complain about his defense. He's a better defender than RJ, a weaker defender than Quentin Grimes. But Quentin Grimes doesn't give you much offense. He has some nights where he could shoot the lights off the three. But in this series, he hasn't been good. Emmanuel Quickley's had a rough series, but in this game, he played pretty well. 50% from the floor. Put up 12 points in 23 minutes. You got to do something here. Because right now, the Knicks are down. The Knicks look dead in that game. Once Darius Garland started to go off, there was no answer. They gave up. They just gave up. You go back to MSG, that crowd's going to be bopping. It's going to be rolling. It's going to be loud. I think the Knicks could pull out Game 6. Or up to Game 6. Pull out Game 3. Game 4, I think it'll be a little bit. I think they may take a step back in Game 4. I think the Cavs will get adjusted to MSG. It'll be difficult to say. But I'm still sticking with Knicks in 6. Once again, people also hated me for saying, no one picked the Knicks. No one picked the Knicks. The odds makers didn't pick the Knicks. Vegas didn't pick the Knicks. No one's picking the Knicks. Stephen A., a Knicks superfan, picked the Knicks. Obviously. You're up against the number 1 defense. You got to get something rolling. Jalen Brunson needs to get that 3-point flowing. Julius Randle needs to shoot a little bit better than like 30% from the floor. Mitchell Robinson, he's not your offensive guy. He needs to be, a rebounding machine. Robert Williams is a perfect example. He's not great offensively, but can he grab a board? Yes, he can. So when, Tatum and Brown and Smart and Horford are all jocking up threes and missing them sometimes, Robert Williams is there for the easy putback. That's Mitchell Robinson's role for this team. Get the rebound, either kick it out or get a putback. RJ Barrett is the huge X factor here because Jalen Brunson will get 20. Julius Randle will get 20 at least for both of them. Who's that next guy? It should be RJ because Quickly's on the bench. If Quickly can drop 20-something off the bench, so be it. He's then your X factor. But with Quickly on the bench, and RJ is your starter, getting 30 minutes a game, he needs to be your X factor here. But we'll see. All right, we're going to wrap it up here. I appreciate everyone stopping by in the Harvey Hour for today. Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. We're back with another episode of the Harvey Hour. I hope to see you all then. My name's Nathan Harvey. This has been the Harvey Hour Fired Up. I will catch you guys Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube.
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify.
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe,
interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
Podcasting just became more than audio.
Create with Anchor, watch on Spotify.